she was talking about the APL coding and how it's so dangerous. And this was like the third time I've seen somebody say something about it. So I'm like, okay, fine. Let me look into it, because like on the surface, it seems kind of benign. And so I was going through the comments because I was like, wait, I wanted to see what people in there were saying. And there was a lady that was going in there that was saying that they were injecting mRNA into produce and they were trying to poison the populace. And I'm like, okay, this is sounding like flat Earth. And so I'm like, okay, so let me look into this. And first of all, the lady has absolutely no idea how mRNA technology works, because she saw the word lipid, I'm guessing, and was like, mRNA, because there's nanolipids that's what delivers the mRNA into your body. But the chemical, like the makeup of an mRNA delivery system requires 4 different types of lipids that all protect the mRNA to get it into your bloodstream, like aptly, without it getting destroyed. And none of the lipids that are involved in the APL coding have anything to do with mRNA. So I replied to one of her comments, and she hasn't replied back. I was asking her, I was like, okay, can you tell me where you're seeing this, or are you pulling this out of your flat Earth ass? Because I don't know, I'm trying to figure this out, and no response. So I'm like, fine, let me go down the fucking rabbit hole. And so I go to their website, and I'm like Googling like all the different compounds. And then I'm looking into the APO like just itself. And it took me to a UK website that was like, okay, it was saying pretty much that under US, like FDA considers it organic, like the coding, but in the UK, it's not considered organic because the lipids that are used have like a certain code, and like that code isn't organic. And I'm like, bingo, okay, let me look at this code. And so I look that up, and that's where I discovered all of the different I can't remember what they're actually called. It's like the monoglycerides, and I think they're monoglycerides and diglycerides are what this coating is made out of. And I was looking at each of them individually, what they're derived from, and like, what they do. And all of them are just kind of unhealthy, but otherwise benign fats. And I'm like, okay, I was like, this is coming out of the WEF and Bill Gates. There has to be something evil here. I'm like, where is it? And the more I kept digging, the less I found. And I'm like, okay, so let me go to the shithole that's Twitter. So I go there, and then that's when I start seeing people like being like, they're gonna poison you and ruin your gut. And I'm like, do you? And I'm like, okay. They're like, okay, but there was like benzene, or there was some kind of like chemical that's like definitely carcinogenic. I'm like, oh wait, okay, they're talking about something actually like feasible here. And then I look at it, and they cite their source, and it's literally the chemical extraction process. That's how you get to the food additive. And one of the steps uses like benzene, or uses like some kind of hexane, or I think it's hexane, uses hexane. And I'm like, oh God, I'm like, none of you understand how chemistry works. I was like, if this is what you mean, then you better not ever touch soap, because at one point soap was lye, and lye is dangerous. I'm like, you don't understand how chemistry works. And then I'm like, so I keep scrolling, and I'm like, okay, that's dead. And I keep scrolling, and I see people talking about how it's like a trans fat. And I'm like, okay, like there's something there. Like, trans fats aren't healthy, but like just the claims that they are making that it's like it's gonna like murder all the infants or something because it's trans fat. And I'm like, okay, so you're now starting to sound like the same type of environmentalists that want to alter all our food to get rid of all the trans fats, because, trans fats in and of themselves aren't necessarily dangerous. It's the amount in which you're consuming them. Because trans fats are found in, like animal products, like in like butter and cheese and milk, and, and it's found in meat, it's found everywhere, but it's just the concentration of it. And the real problem with trans fats is when it's added into processed foods for flavoring, because you're getting a really concentrated dose of trans fats, and that's what makes it dangerous. But when you look at the actual process that you get the chemicals to make the APL coating, there's probably there's like less than 5% of the fats that are in there are trans fats. So it's on par with like butter. Like, you know, but I mean, it's not actually the compound itself. It's just like that is butter, but it's just, the more I dig into it, the less suspicious it gets. And I don't like that, because this is Bill Gates WEF founded. And so that's what triggered me to like send that message, because I was just like, I wanted to know if any of you guys heard of anything about it, because as far as I know, it actually kind of seems okay. Like, I understand why they're doing it, because it's like, it's a way to prevent food from spoiling faster, because it retains the moisture inside the food, and it prevents like bacteria and mold from getting in from the outside. But the problem is that the coating is not washable. But the thing is too, is we already have non-washable coatings on a lot of our produce. Our produce, like apples, they're covered in wax. Like, it's an edible form of wax. It's a very, very thin coating of wax, but that's what keeps apples. Because like, you go to the store right now, those apples that you were eating were probably picked last August. Like, that's how well we've gotten at preserving specifically apples. And there's other produce that have these kinds of coatings too. And I'm just like, you know, like I said in one of the messages, like if the WEF came out and said that it's really good for you to breathe, like millions of people would suddenly asphyxiate, because suddenly the WEF is supporting breathing. Like, if I need something more than just simply Bill Gates backing something for me to feel suspicious about it, you know? And as far as I've gone, it doesn't seem all that suspicious.
And see, that is a very key point that I think a lot of people don't understand about this whole thing, is that not everything that these billionaires fund is necessarily inherently bad.
Yeah.
There is some outliers and some gray areas. They're billionaires. They just throw money at places where it sticks. They don't care where it goes. And that's the thing. They don't care where it goes. They'll put it anywhere. And that's the problem.
And I guess I think it's really the thing that is throwing people off, is the fact that the company is proclaiming that it's unwashable. And so that I can be like, okay, like I'm not able to wash it. But I'm just like, I'm sitting here and I'm like using my, you know, rather like college level chemistry knowledge that I have. I'm like, well, these are made out of pretty basic fats. And I'm like, and soap cuts fats and allows them to be washed away. You know, that's why you use Dawn to wash the duckies after an oil spill, because Dawn cuts out the oil, which is a fat, you know, and it helps you be able to wash it away. And so I'm just sitting here thinking, I'm like, okay, if I had the chemistry tools, what I would be able to do is, you know, get appeal produce, be able to test to see if there is some kind of fatty coating on it, and then wash it, and then test to see if that fatty coating is still there. Like, I mean, wash it with soap. But a lot of these produce that's being used is stuff you generally don't eat the peel of. Now, there's like apples and stuff that they're like coating it with, but there's also oranges and avocados. And I don't know about you, but avocado skin doesn't sound really appetizing to me. You typically, you know, you peel the avocado skin away. So, and like I was saying, like earlier in the message, like avocados, I swear they're ripe for 20 minutes and then all of a sudden they're all brown and nasty. So if they can make avocados last longer, I'm kind of in. They're expensive to begin with. And it kind of, you know, when you think about why they would be funding something like this, you know, they're all about climate change and, you know, like food waste and all that kind of stuff. And it's kind of a valid area to be concerned about. Food waste is incredibly wasteful. You know,
Well,
in the studies,
not even just food waste, but the need for perfect looking food, which leads to unnecessary food waste.
Yeah, exactly. And it's and a lot of the food waste actually comes from the physical grocery stores themselves, them not selling the produce in time. In the studies that they did, you know, obviously they're studies by the appeal companies, so you know you have to take them with a grain of salt, but they showed that, like, at least with avocados, there was a 50% reduction in avocado waste at grocery stores. And, you know, these avocados are already being, you know, produced by slave labor cartels in Mexico. So, you know, the less of those we waste, you know, probably the better. And yeah, so it's like, I don't know, this might be one of the things that Bill Gates gets behind that I'm like, okay, I agree with you on that. I mean, Bill Gates also likes playing the card game Bridge. Does that mean like if you play Bridge, suddenly you're a left puppet yourself? Like, it's just squirrel brain behavior. And so that's what triggered all that.
And it's a very beautiful point to suggest that they are still human beings. They still just throw money at places, not even really caring. So yeah, it's a very
I would have thrown
good
money
point.
at that. I mean, on the surface, it seems pretty dope. Help save food, right? Help reduce plastic packaging too.
As a custom here, I know there's some people that are new. When we finish with the main talk, we usually go into the sun and some basic space stuff that we've noticed. So one thing to make note is, not anything to write home about other than this guy. Why is this at 1,000, but it's in the green? I don't. That's scary to me. And it probably hit us on the other, like it blew off away from us. That's why. But yeah, the sun's ever so active as it usually is. See if we can see that big one go off in real time. Oh yeah, Junk, do you want to talk about your big theory about the sun there?
Yeah, I mean, we can clearly see the horizon, but where does it go? I mean, my thought is that we have some kind of conveyor belt style rollover because it's obviously flat. So, flat sun society forever. FSF. FSSF.
Is there an ice wall around the edge of the sun?
Oh God, that one hurt. That was a good one.
Underworld every day, according to the Egyptians, and the scarab beetle pushes it up the hill from the other side every single day of the world.
That's one strong beetle.
Oh God, we really could have fun with this with Flat Sun Society. I swear, it could get so good.
If the Earth was flat, cats would have knocked everything off of it by now.
Oh, that's funny right there. Oh, Junk, you got any anomalies for us?
Well, why don't you pull up that last graphic I just showed you? Because we got one of the biggest hits in the last 4 years. I think that's worth noting.
Oh, yeah. I am just getting those. My apologies, sir.
I was late, but did you guys go over the whistleblower that's saying that we have not just one but multiple different alien spacecraft intact, that the Pentagon has control over it right now? Did you guys get into that a little?
No, we haven't. But it's definitely been shared across New Templar media for sure. Why don't you what's your opinion on that, Miss Birdcat?
I think they're gearing up for some kind of disclosure, some kind of manufactured disclosure, of course, another psyop, and some kind of, I don't know, their latest blue light special on the whatever they want us to believe. I absolutely believe there's crafts out there that are operated and created by other things, whether we have them or not, who knows? I mean, they've believed they've had them at Roswell and Area 51 since the 40s, and I think that's most likely true. But the fact that they just keep coming out and saying it now, I really think they're trying to push it. But I think what's bigger than that even is that, last year the Pentagon came out and pretty much admitted that UFOs are real. And now we have people making the practically the mainstream media circuit saying we have multiple intact crafts in our possession. And it's barely a blip on the news radar. I mean, people are just still so obsessed with whatever mainstream media narrative is going on, that something as big as UFO craft doesn't even seem to interest the majority of the normie public. It's just odd to me.
Yeah, I did, I did hear about that. The whistleblower even said they have alien bodies and alien craft, so it's definitely a big thing. But I'd say that it's confirmed that we have UFO technology. If you've heard about the Salvatore Pais anti-gravity craft, which also includes zero point energy and super cooler pad as well.
Well, even just beyond that, like as we even here done on the Mystery School, we had a whole conversation just showcasing what is in our outer and in our basic solar system and what's happening every day. Like you're witnessing what was happening at 9:30 this morning in our space. Look at that. That is some type of weird eagle-looking craft or some type of spider-looking vehicle. Like I don't know how else to describe that, but that is some weird and very specifically shaped anomalies by our sun there. And so is that. That was yesterday at 4 a.m.
I would have to say that that craft looks like something that's meant for both space and atmosphere travel, because those kind of look like wings. See how they're arched backwards, and then if you go back a slide to the last one, you can see almost like the on the left picture there, it looks like the I don't know what name that is, but the little tail and with the tip on the plane that they have on planes. You see that? You see the wing on the going across there, and then you see the little tip. Kind of looks like a typical jet, so that could be ours or a similar
Oh,
design.
I'm fully believing that all of this stuff is ours right here.
Oh, I don't know about the giant cigar craft. That's debatable.
I mean, Solar Warden.
Well, yeah, but still debatable.
I don't know, man.
Oh man. Yeah, most of these craft are trans, so I just wanted to make that apparent during Pride Month, so we can be inclusive. This is an amazing one, actually. Brand new capture yesterday in the portal, the 66 portal. We constantly see these. So if you're new to this channel or you're new to Templars, we feature these graphs of which you can see here, the heliosphere from the satellites LASCO C2, C3. The blue one is in standard and the red one is infrared. So this is fascinating that we're getting crystal clear captures, maybe not as detailed as we would like, because some of these objects are deep space, but it's between the Earth and the sun. That's how you can kind of orient what we're looking at. And just to reiterate, that big giant dark circle in the middle is a blinder for the camera sensor, held off to the bottom by that arm that's kind of pixelated. And the circle within the dark circle is actually the true size of the sun. So it's fascinating to see how a majority of these craft, I mean, comparative to the last two that we saw with the anomalous kind of shapes and sizes, are pretty much for the most part long cylindrical craft. And these things are massive. I mean, we are covering a scope of the sky that is goodness. I mean, Scuba, we've done the process of trying to measure these craft before, and they're miles in length at minimum. So you're getting something absolutely enormous out there, and very reflective.
And there's something just 2 days prior from that in infrared. So these things are absolutely everywhere. They're always around. Don't ever think that they're not, whether they're extraterrestrial, man-made, or something else. We see them every day, and they are very consistent and too defined to be anything natural. Also, in other news,
It's Scuba. Oh, sure. Okay. Yeah, no, let's do it. Rip the Band-Aid. Can we get an explosion sound effect, please?
I wish. I don't have a soundboard for Telegram.
Yeah, my goodness, my jaw dropped when I saw this afternoon.
It's been
This
a
is
while.
this is the largest spike, the high, because we haven't been in the hundreds in quite a while, but this is the largest spike that we've had in 4 years. So what does that tell you? That things are amping up in some degree, and
For those of you who don't know what this is a measurement of the Schumann resonance. The Schumann resonance is a constant humming noise that is felt throughout the entire Earth, and it is understood that this soft tone at 40 hertz, Junk, normally.
a baseline is 7.83. That is basically vibration of all life. But again, this is more so the interaction between the ionosphere, the sun, the solar flares. It all interconnects, and that's why when you get these giant bursts, it's, as Scuba mentioned previously when we were looking at the sun in general, it's a direct hit, and it's not necessarily detrimental by any means. This is more so upgrading of your DNA, your consciousness. You've heard Dylan talk about this a lot of times, light codes. These are different transmissions by which highly charged photonic light enters the planet, and we're actually able to see it on a physical scale. So whether you react differently, this is all an acclimation process, because something that we've spoken on a lot here in Templars Mystery School and also on my page is how interconnected or how much of a symbiotic relationship we have with the sun, how Soul is almost our caretaker of not only planet Earth, but our own consciousness as a collective. And during these giant spikes, depending on your acclimation, you'll respond in different ways. Like, for example, me, when I felt this, a lot of times I feel more tired or fatigued because I'm being called to integrate the energies. And for others, they feel high, like a real boost in vitality. So, nevertheless, you will receive lots of information through your consciousness via dream state, visions, inner knowing. Some of your activations will come in forms of light language or just so many different modalities by which you carry in the new high vibrational energy into your own field. But this one was most prominent because I've been tracking this for, I think, going on 5.5 years, actually 6 years. I think I've been tracking for almost 6 years now. And the highest on record is 175. So if we're hitting 120 and it's been a few years since we've reached the hundreds, you can guarantee that something big's coming. So this is just a party for today.
Do you know when exactly it last spiked that big? In 2019?
No, 20. Yeah, it was something. It was something around that time. It might be early 2020 as well. When we broke even at the 100 mark, I think it was like 110. I'm going to look through my page. I can inform everybody later on, but it's been quite a while. We've been hovering in the low 20s, the 50s, and then kind of peaking at the 80s. And those have been pretty awesome. But 120, the floodgates. So I love to see triple digits.
Absolutely.
Maybe that accounts for why I've seen a ghost, or not seen, well, saw one once and felt one another time, twice this week in 2 different locations. If it can activate what you receive, then I assume it can activate your being able to encounter other aspects of the paranormal, or maybe it can pin them a little.
Well, actually, you know why that is probably more prominent is because the planetary vibration is actually elevated. So, in some degree, you could be seeing beyond the veil with even lesser effort than you would before, and that's exciting too, because we look at sun cycles and how prominent they are in different historical events throughout history, and how much they play upon the collective consciousness in ways that inspire change. And I do believe that when these things happen, we subconsciously synchronize with each other, especially here in the conscious community, since we're aware of the phenomena. We're not just feeling elated or fatigued out of nowhere. This energetic transference actually has a base. And that's why I love the Schumann, is because it gives us a visible reference that you can just check in on. And I do post it every single day, just in case you guys wanted to come check it out. So yeah, it's been fun.
And
Because we had both, myself and my coworker experienced it, and then the other place I was at, they had a huge spike. Now their place is kind of known for having some hauntings, but it wasn't a negative thing. It was just a thing, and it was kind of exciting because we were all experiencing it in the same way. So it's kind of cool.
all right, so Junk, take it away, my friend.
Awesome. I appreciate it. So, as you have all gathered here for this very, very fun mystery school where we dive into occult, spiritual, and ancient technologies, etc., I too host a mystery school entitled Know Thyself, which is not pictured here because it's a different graphic. But it's Know Thyself, Path of the Initiate, basically a mystery school where we dive into channeled material. We do question answer, live meditations, and we really pick apart these topics and try to understand the intention and the archetypes lining them. So this Sunday at 5 p.m. PST, we're going to be speaking on free will, one of the most prominent topics and themes of our entire human existence, aka the choice to be. And we're going to be featuring our very special guest speaker, Simon Essler. You might know him. Him and I, we just had a very profound live stream. If you guys want to go check that out, it's on my page. But we're going to be coming together on Sunday, and we're going to be diving really deep into this topic. And if you want to know anything more about your own free will, how you can maximize its efficacy, and if you want to learn the laws of the universe, I highly recommend you stop by. It's free. These are our last free remaining sessions of June before our official debut in August. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be really exciting to transfer to the full version of Mystery School. But for now, it's a nice little teaser, and I hope that you can be here to round out our third month of Mystery School. So thank you, Scuba. I invite you all to come hang out. It's going to be a great time.
Alrighty, everybody. That is our tonight's session for this evening. I want to thank you all for coming. Thank you all for tuned in for the recording. Have a wonderful night. Stay well. Stay awake. Keep your eye out for the Disney crap. Next week, we have a very special conversation lined up, basically going into all things free energy, Salvador Pius, different patents, and man-made UFOs, essentially. Now that it's getting into the public space, we might as well talk about it. So we will see you all next.
Scuba, are we still doing individual topics or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're still gonna do the individual ones.
So what's the one next week?
Salvador Pius.
Okay.
Hey, Scuba. If one were to be interested in Flat Sun Society, do you have a link that we can follow to get more information?
I do not. I haven't gotten that far yet, bud.
Hey, Junk, I do have something for you. It's a little late, though.
What?
Here
Was that?
explode.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Better delayed than never. Am I right?
Yeah, better delayed than never. All right, guys. Have a wonderful night. We will see you next week. And as always, keep on seeking. Good night.